So good afternoon, Mrs. Penkova. Thank you very much for accepting this interview. This is your second term as an MEP, but you are new to the EPFSF, so could I ask you to please introduce yourself?
Of course, thank you. Yes, indeed, this is my second term at the European Parliament. At the moment, I'm the Vice Chair of the Industry, Research and Energy Committee, and I'm a member of the Economic and Monetary Affairs Committee. Prior to joining the European Parliament, actually, I used to be in banking. I was an investment banker in London. So that's why being part of the European Parliamentary Financial Services Forum is a great honor for me, and I really value the practical viewpoints we're going to get to be part of the legislative process here at the Parliament.
Thank you. You are very modest because, when I look at your bio, you also went to this Central European University in Budapest, but also to Bocconi University, as well as the University of Oxford. So impressive CV, and very good to have such a knowledgeable MEP when it comes to financial services. So you kindly agreed to join the steering committee of the EPFSF. So what has motivated you to do so, and how important is the EPFSF?
I think it's very important because having the viewpoint of the industry and the stakeholders is an active dialogue with the regulators actually is the crucial condition to ensure that we're going to have regulations which are both good for the society and for the industry. As I've mentioned, my previous experience in the financial sector helped me realize that it's really, really important to be in a constant communication with the regulators. I will just give you one example. I was in banking when GDPR was introduced. No one had spoken with us back then, and the viewpoint of the financial sector hasn't been considered very actively when the regulation was put in place. Back then, the UK was still part of the EU, so we had to implement it immediately. It was a very difficult conversation to have with our clients who would have their savings on one side or their very big investments, like when we're speaking about corporate clients with the bank. And we had to explain them that now we need an agreement from them in terms of the personal data we had to use. Given that they had trusted us with very key investment decisions, it was very puzzling to explain why they need to give us a permission for something so basic as the data of the clients. So that's why I really think that any time when we are creating something in this house of the European Parliament, we really need to be in a constant conversation with the industry because, first of all, they can tell us if the targets are correct, if the deadlines are practically possible, and last but not least is how to phrase it in a way which could be implemented for the benefit of what the regulation wants to protect and not limit specific growth or actually cause more turbulences in the industry.
So in effect, what you are saying is that one way to bridge the gap that there may be between policymakers and market participants is through dialogue, right?
Constant dialogue, I would say. Constant, not ad hoc meetings, not meetings only when we're discussing a specific legislation, but constant and continuous dialogue.
So there are many financial services policy issues being discussed in this House. Which ones are you most passionate about?
Well, of course, I think number one priority at the moment is the Saving and Investment Union. I would say the retail strategy is very key. Sustainable finance is not to be avoided, and anything which is related to digital finance and innovation. So all of those frameworks, they have very obvious benefits, as I said, both for the financial industry and for the financial services, for creating a working financial capital market in the EU for the benefit of our consumers.
Now, Mario Draghi, in his recent report, stressed the massive investment gap that exists in the European Union in key sectors like defense, clean tech, digital. how do we fill that gap? Also considering the limited space available at the member states level.
I think he was very clear in basically every aspect of his report. He's pointing out that we need working capital market. Basically, one of the biggest problems we've observed in the EU is not the lack of financial resources, is the fact that we don't put them into the best usage in a timely manner. Like even with some of the more, let's call them progressive or like the brave financial instruments like the RRF, like the first time the EU issued a common debt, we see that we're not using the money for the purposes of building up the European industry. Like we are now in 2025, the deadline for this instrument to be implemented is 2026. And at the moment, we're a bit more than like it's about 52% of the money being put into work. And I'm sure you're going to agree with me, there is no country, no society or no industry, no region in Europe that's going to say we don't need any financial support at the moment. We have the money, we're not making it, we're not using them in the most efficient way. So that's why we need a properly working financial market, a properly working strategy. To be honest, this is a call we're getting also from the central bankers, that Europe is sitting on money which we're not investing properly in our industry.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. We very much look forward to working with you. And as a matter of fact, you will be chairing our next event, which will take place on Wednesday, the 2nd of July in this house at 12:30, entitled Priorities for Europe's Economic Strategy, Capital Markets, Competitiveness and Resilience. So we look forward to working with you in the coming weeks and months.
Many topics, very important. So I'm sure it's going to be a very useful debate both for the stakeholders, part of the European Parliamentary Financial Services Forum, and for the members of this House. Looking forward for the event.
So
thank you.
We see you then. Thank you very much. Thank you.